There's literally, I
Yeah.
pass by one on my way back home from work every day.
Yeah, I pass 2 most days, sometimes 3. I'm pretty sure I could sneak a taco a day in the week.
Yeah, I mean, you're in your car a lot too for work.
Yeah. And I fucking love tacos.
Hey, we're live, my guy.
There's no way
Okay,
I can
I'm
eat Taco
sorry.
Bell every day or like even more than once a month. I'd be sick.
No, well, aren't you just super healthy?
I'm not.
If there was an option like $12 to try it for a month, I would do that. You know, see how I feel after the first month.
It's not that I'm healthy. It's
I made
just really
some-
it messes me up.
I made some pretty killer tacos the other day. I put some of that. Chad's gonna laugh at me, and Jared, you'll probably laugh at me too, just because of how do you pronounce it? Chorizo.
Oh, chorizo, yeah.
Yeah, that Jared's is better.
I was close, right? Fair.
Mm-hmm.
You threw a T in there. I don't think there's a T in there.
Tiffany, who never even took Spanish, laughs at me whenever I try to say stuff. There's not a T in there, dummy. She'll say.
One of my favorite stories you've ever said.
Tiffany goes, chorizo. That's how Tiffany says it.
Like I know, like Tiffany's like go-to word whenever you're talking to somebody is like, "No, you dummy" or whatever. And whenever like
No, you dummy.
Caroline said that back to her, "I'm not doing that, you dummy." There's nothing funnier than that.
Oh, that's great, man. Wait, is there a Lumina catalyst? Oh yeah, there was.
Okay.
I just barely finished it because of Darius. I'm like, you know what? I can do this in
Dude,
here.
I love that gun. I think that might be my favorite gun in the game.
I just want Rose to come back because Rose was fun.
You can pull it from collections.
I know, but like I wanted to be able to use it in something.
I mean, I guess I'll hear why, but I really don't know
Just 'cause
why
it's stupid.
you love that gun.
Lumina?
It's fun, dude. You get a 35% damage bonus.
I understand.
Well, as
I
a
understand that
like
part.
if you're as a warlock,
10 second.
it has what is it? Synchronicity
The
with
boots are
the
assembler?
boots because
Yeah,
the boots
are
count.
similar. Like I have like so many noble rounds, and every time you pick up one of the
Orbs.
remnant things, your ammo like I mean, that was
it's with the
I should
boots.
say,
It's monstrous.
I was doing
It's a
it
lot
with
of fun.
dares. I was doing it in dares, so
Yeah.
there was always 5 other people. I was just spamming those. I wish you could hold more than five like noble shots though.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could stack like.
I mean,
8
it
or
makes
10.
sense because that's the amount of teammates that you can hit maximum.
Yeah,
But it's still, I agree. Anyway, are we? Ooh, I got my stuffing fix on. Roommate decided to make mini Thanksgiving. Totally okay with it.
Oh no.
Oh no, stuffing, gravy, and the chicken. Like, oh no. All right.
Everybody
Ryan,
check their Zencaster stuff.
Zencaster I did. I'm gonna check on Discord is good. Yep. I'm all good.
Yep, good.
We're on the YouTubes. Somebody got the comments up so we can see if somebody says hello.
Yeah.
I haven't looked yet.
We're getting ready to start this thing. But don't be yelling.
You're not muted. You're not muted. Don't you be telling her not to yell.
You're not allowed to talk.
Oh man. Hey man.
All right. Everybody good? I'm going to click the record button.
Chilling.
And Jared, you good?
Yep.
Chad, you good?
Yep. haven't touched on in D2, and we're gonna get started on some of those today.
And remember, if you're watching on YouTube, you can take us on the road via Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast services. Make sure you subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, and click the bell, turn on notifications, yada, yada, yada. Follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Send us Bungie friend requests. Join the Discord server. Once again, no TWAB this week. Maybe we'll get one next week. Who knows at this rate? So we're just going to tell you kind of what we did this week. So, Jared, let's get weird.
All right, this last weekend, solo trials weekend, where you had the extra node, and so you could go in there alone, and you only playing against other people that's also in there alone, and hence being solo, which is great. Kind of evens the field a little bit. There's not as much carries going on. Some really crack people that's doing like paid carries and stuff like that. You really don't encounter that very much at all, really. So mostly just people in there just grinding and getting for loot, engrams. And, you know, along with this was double XP for Saint 14 to help get you trials engrams. So, you know, you're coming off the tail end of the holidays. You know, you had New Year's Eve, the New Year's Day and stuff. So Sunday morning, I was up early, like 6:30. Let the dog out and everything. So you know what? I want to grind out some Trials XP solo. It's like I'm not resetting, not going for flawless. I'm going into getting games complete and just not trying not to screw over my teammates. So I didn't reset once, and I just played for about 4 hours straight Trials. I have a lot of gripes about a few weapons that I just can't stand and builds I can't go against. But reward-wise, it felt really good. I probably got at least 15 Trials engrams in. It felt like, because after you get to that 7th win on the card, they pretty much guarantee drop on a win, a Trials engram. So if you have extra Glimmer and Legendary Shards, it's easy just to go ahead and focus that. And I was already thinking ahead to that Witch Queen raid drop. And I was like, I probably need a triple tap firing line. Weeds Regret at some point. So especially with the nerf to 4-4 for heavy weapons, it might be the best in slot legendary weapon to pair with like a Wither Horde DPS scenario. So I finally got one of those. I think for my mag column, I got liquid coils or enhanced battery. So the battery goes up to 6. I can put on boss spec or major spec, whatever is needed for that. Or I could keep it liquid coils, which each shot just matters just a tiny bit more. But, you know, probably the extra shot is the better DPS option. Did you all get into any solo playlists this weekend?
I can definitely say that I saw you in there, and I wished you luck, and I prayed for you.
Yeah.
I wished upon a star, and I did something else. I've just been doing triumphs, man. Just working on all that kind of nonsense. Getting whatever I can out of the Tangled Shore before it goes away. And still can't get my emblem from the spider bounties, and it's really getting super aggravating at this point. I'm sitting on 39 out of 40 of those Rasputin nodes.
Yep.
And I think it's gonna be the same here. And I'm furious.
I think I have the emblem. You can just have mine if you want it.
I'll take it. Just print it up, mail it to me.
Will do. I'll email it to you. It's an NFT though. So I've been on call this week. I was told I was going on call 2 days before I had to go on call by work, due to a coworker's personal thing that's kind of going on. So I haven't had a whole lot of time to game, unfortunately. But the time I have had, I've kind of been doing catalyst work and trying to get those dares completions. I think I am 2 dares away from a rank 13, so which will put me to be able to finish all the class items from all of that. And then my goal is obviously just to reset once, which is to finish a rank 16. So we're getting close, not quite there. That is a nightmarish long amount of dares to have to run for one reset. It is so far out of line with like Gambit, Crucible, and Strikes. Like it is insane how much of that you have to play. But I have found a new favorite weapon, which I think we'll kind of hit that later. But Jared, you were talking about that Reed Regret, the triple tap firing line.
Yeah.
I think I had like 30 of the Trials Engrams sitting from rank ups from where I played like a lot more than you guys did. And I pulled like 17 straight Reed Regrets, I want to say, before I got the one that I was looking for. And now that I have it, anything that requires DPS at all, like specifically like Grasp of Avarice and stuff, like that dungeon, that thing just does absolute work. It is a unit, and you really, all of you should really be grinding to try to get that.
Yeah, I did. I felt really accomplished. I think I got that with my like 10th Ingram. Like I just went straight Reed Regret, and then after that, I did end up finally getting a Desperado Messenger. The other columns was like they're okay, so I was able to knock that off the list. And then like that caster frame sword, I started going after it a bit just to find something else to go for. But like the Trials weapons were pretty cool to go after, something to chase. But I feel like the reward system that this last solo weekend, how you get the extra XP, is the way it should normally feel. Because I think there's no other time I really go in there solo at all to play. But it felt really good this last weekend reward wise.
Yeah, I considered going in, like I think it was Monday night or Tuesday morning. I was kind of able to. I had a little bit of time carved out, and I was like, man, I kind of want to play some Trials. But I think it was actually Tuesday, but didn't they have maintenance for like 3 hours leading up to reset Tuesday?
Yeah.
And I wasn't able to play. But I thought about it. Like I love Trials. I love the game mode. I wasn't crazy about the map this week, because I watched quite a bit on I had usually have Twitch going in the background, watching Trials and stuff. But it's they're close on Trials. They just got to keep the population up. A 6-month season makes it hard because like weapon rotations and things like that. But once they put Summoner and some of those, what's the Scholar, the Scout Rifle,
Yeah.
and put some of those other weapons back in rotation, I'll be back in there for sure.
When Astral Horizon comes back into the loot pool and stuff like that, like people are gonna get back in there.
Yeah, it don't matter. They'll just change whatever role you have once you have it, anyways. So
yeah, there's a lot of conversations on Twitter right now with the Zur main ingredient, the Zur ingredient, I think some people call it. How that is, it's breaking out of in PvP. Like if somebody had it, if you went around for that one weekend to get it, it's you kind of like left behind. But
don't feel bad for you.
But as annoying things to play against, that ain't one of them. And one of the things that I hated the most on my play session was no time to explain. And I threw on Risk Runner, right, to help combat with that, right? I actually clutched 2 3v1 rounds in that game, but we still lost 5-2 because my other teammates didn't pull through anything. But the biggest issue with it, I noticed, is that it starts shooting you before you make the turn. So even if like the player don't see you and you're not in the line of sight, and in Warmhaven, so like I'm going around the outside to try to look up and into the middle where they had the position, those bolts are firing at me before I make the corner, and that way the player already knows I'm there even though I'm crouched and invisible and I'm not pinging radar. He knows I'm there because of that arc thing shooting at me. So
get good.
I mean, I would try to, but I'm not.
What were you playing as, a hunter?
Yeah, yep. I did.
I don't feel bad for you.
I did some stasis with the dust filled nades and just like closing down lanes. Like like a teammate got picked to try to just to suppress that a bit. And then I also did some arc, which I found that the arc was a decent super if the game lasted long enough to get it. But the overall class besides the flux nade is it doesn't feel that good.
Yeah, the well. I saw like I think it was ZK and Frostbolt did like a 2-man flawless pool trials card
Yep.
on YouTube you can watch, and they were ZK was running like a support build warlock with a well, and he was sometimes getting 2 wells a game, and it was pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I couldn't do it, but it was pretty nice for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing that's going on this week is Lake of Shadows is back, and Palindrome is a weapon that's dropping this week, along with the Swarm. But nobody cares about the Swarm. Everybody cares about Palindrome. But this time around, Lake of Shadows, boss got a little bit of a buff, a health buff. So I didn't feel it. Like, I've run some LFGs, no comms really. Everybody's done Lake of Shadow a lot. That's out on the LFG sites that I've been going with. And we did Sword Strat. We did Linear Fusion Strat. I haven't did any rocket launcher strats, but I ran a Raillock with Aeon Swifts, right? Doing finishers, getting that well back, and then doing energy converter with my grenade, so I can get 5 stacks and then get my well back quickly with that. So that's what I decided to do, just to support people as much as possible with 100 discipline. So with the Firebolt grenade and 100 discipline, it's a 24-second grenade cooldown. So you should be constantly just giving your teammates overshields. That's basically what I did, and it's just as easy as it was before.
Yeah, so I did not have that great of an LFG experience. I tried to run one this morning, and I need to stack 5 more Ascendant shards on my hunter. So trying to get as a hunter into in-game content right now is not very fun. Once I finally got in, I got in with 2 people. I was running like the Aeon Souls or whatever the hunter variant of that is, with Stasis. And, of course, nobody on the team I was with had 1K. Nobody had mics. Everything was trying to type. So they're wanting to do sword strat, which is fine. So I go through and get all the way to the end, couple close calls, and all the way to the end. And I get killed by the knight that breathes fire before you shoot the blight to spawn the final boss. I don't know if they were too dumb to realize what happened, but they didn't revive me. They just went on and tried to 2-man the boss and died.
Yeah.
32 minutes later, get all the way to the end and wasn't revived, and we wiped and back to orbit, and I quit the desktop at that point. So have not had good experience. I need 5 completions to get my shards so I can stop.
I'd say it's a little excessive you thinking that you need that many shards, because it really, like, for a player like you, Fox, and us that like constantly play this game, multiple hours a week, I would say the first week of a season drop where you can't grind the Master Nightfall, but by the second week you're high enough power to do it, that golf balls are always available for you to go get.
Yeah, they are. And do I need 40? No, but I can hold 40, and that's the most valuable currency. So I need to have 40. So I know it doesn't make sense. You can only
spend it on one thing
right now.
True.
we don't know what's coming in February.
Yeah, mod components might actually mean something again.
Well, good thing I have like 2 stacks of $9.99 or whatever.
Yep. So Chad, what about you? I mean, anything going on for you this week?
I mean, besides Triumph hunting and bounties, and I'm literally, like I'm saying, I'm just trying to get Triumphs done. I think I'm on my last little bit of doing that one public event where you have to shoot the little orbs that come out of the thing. You have to destroy 500 of them, and I ignored it because nobody ever does it. Everybody just leaves if that's the public event there. I mean, I'm a Triumph hunter, man. That's all. I like checking little boxes off, and I know I'm never going to get god rolls, so I don't spend time in trials. I just do other stuff to check off boxes that I can check.
Hey,
the
ether one, yeah, it is.
Look, I didn't get god rolls either. I got rolls that I didn't need to grind anymore.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean,
That's
I've
just
had
two
plenty of
different
guns
things,
where
Chad.
I never see the perk I want. I'll get 30 of them
Well,
and never see the one perk I want.
Dude, what gun have you got 30 of that you didn't get of the perk just the one perk that you didn't want of?
I barely got a Glacia Chasm with Reservoir, barely, and everything else is
Are you talking
nonsense.
about 2 years ago?
No, I'm talking about this last dawning, and I think I did another like 400 cookies ish, and I grinded out all that kind of nonsense. I had 8 avalanches in a row drop from that box. Like I'm telling you,
Listen,
man, I can't.
I'm pretty convinced.
Woo.
This is probably not popular opinion, but um, the other. Do you know? But let's talk about those boxes from the dawning. The boxes that come from the Dares of Eternity, the paracausal boxes.
Yeah,
And if you ever turn in your the umbral engrams to focus on like you get a weapon from the season of the splicer, like one of those. Have you noticed that you get like one weapon? Like if you focus like 6 or 7 of those in a row, like 5 of them
it's
are going
like
to be the same
two.
thing.
It's like 2 weapons that you always get.
Yeah. Yeah. So like are those on like a secret time rotation
I
or
mean,
something? Is that how that works?
we already know that they can change rarity on weapons, and this is a fact now because of the purple sword. We know for a fact that they can choose percentages for legendaries within a pool. It's not like here's 10 legendaries. You have a
Right.
1 out of 10 chance of getting any of these legendaries. No, they're weighted. The sword is like a 1% chance out of all the rest of them, and there is a weight towards the other ones. We know that as a fact now because of that sword. So like yeah, you're probably right. They know which guns people want, and they weigh them as rarer for
Right.
everyone else. So, like, I know that's a thing. It's the way to keep people playing the game is an
Yeah.
artificial increase in
I
grind.
wish they would. I wish they would just admit it. If they would admit it,
Well,
I
they
wouldn't
admitted
have a
it with the
problem with it.
sword. They admitted it with the purple sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's kind of like a transversive property type thing that we're applying to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So back during the sunsetting days, they talked about how the gunsmith drop rates were, and like how he would like weight his drops to the newer weapons that's in the world loot pool compared to the
Right.
older ones. And I don't remember them ever saying that they ever took that away. So that might be some back end stuff going on. Tell you what, we might be getting weapons that's a little bit more weighted to the newer weapons than like the older chances that's in those Umbro engrams.
But we want that though, right? Isn't that what we want?
I mean, most people, like the newer people, want the new guns.
Well, I mean, like, because I mean, we spent a whole season grinding out those guns before. Like, we want the new stuff. We don't need more rolls of the other stuff.
The only time it ever comes into play, they're like, oh, aggressive frame SMGs get a 20% buff this next
Right.
season, right? And
Right.
that was 3 seasons ago when it was dropping in the loot pool. So that's the time whenever it happens.
Yep. I got you.
All right, so that's kind of it. What we got going on this week. Chad, lore this week is going to be about the Deepstone Crypt. So before we get into the lore section, we might as well break down the weapons from that raid, since we wasn't loud and recording and sharing our opinion on the internet at that point. So the first weapon,
very important. Are very important.
So the first weapon that might be probably the best weapon from there, we're gonna go with Heritage, the Kinetic Slug Shotgun.
Yay.
So PvE, we're looking at Hammer Forged, Assault Mag, Reconstruction, Recombination. So that Reconstruction Recombination is unique to the Deepstone Crypt. So Reconstitution here is gonna like overfill the mag, basically double what you have in it. Reconstruction, sorry. I was looking at something else. Okay, Reconstruction, yes. Basically doubles the mag. So like the Slug Shotty with like extended mag, you could get up to...
Is it 14 or 16?
Yeah, it's 16.
Depending
you
on
can-
the mag perk.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I
Yeah.
put assault mag on because you still want to pump out as many shots as fast as
Mm-hmm.
possible for the DPS roll.
Yep.
But it still don't hurt if you just want to have extended mag on there. Then recombination, whenever you're getting kills with energy weapons, it overcharges that first shot whenever you go to switch to it. So that stacks up to 10. So you can be sword and stuff. You can be using your grenade or melee. All those energy kills count towards that, and that first shot does like
It's nutty.
extra 100% damage or something like that.
Yeah, it's nutty. The other thing about that shotgun, I used it a lot during like the slug shotty DPS meta that was with like Templar and then Tanix, that boss fight as well. And then I also, before, it took me a minute to get that reconstruction recombination roll, but I had an auto loading recombination that did a little bit better DPS in certain situations. So that's another one to look out for.
Yeah, so I never got. The only thing I ever got was auto loading holster with recombination, and I got extended mag on mine. So that's the one I always used because I always like the consistency of auto loading holster instead of waiting a lot longer for that mag to overfill, because I felt like it charged so much faster. Like you said, with some of
that was kind of the issue with like the Templar fight. You would like shoot through that first mag, switch to your second shotgun, which was probably like a first in, last out, shoot through that. And whenever you switch back, you wouldn't always be above like your starting point on your reconstruction. Whereas with auto loading, it's what, like a 3-second timer, and then it pops back for you. So that's kind of the one instance to where the auto loading was a little better.
Another thing that's in the game now is holster mods too, that like gradually refill stuff. So I don't know if that stacks with reconstitution. So that's not something I haven't touched or even really thought about in this game. So maybe that can stack up to auto loading holster now, but we'll see about that. So the next one is the PvP role for the heritage. So slugs are still pretty good in PvP. This one will require you to hit a headshot to get that kill. One's like Chaperone. Chaperone has a lot more aim assist, so it's not going to feel as good as Chaperone, but it's almost going to be there and not be exotic. So you're going to go fluted barrel, Acarize, slide shot, moving target. And that last column, you don't have to go moving target. You can also go snapshot if you just want it to like the scope it on the head real quick. That's what I found that I played a little bit with in PvP. Basically, I had corkscrew, Acarize, slide shot, snapshot, and I used it for a while. But it was also at the time when Winter was even better than what it is at right now, and there was no point of using any other shotgun besides that.
Yep.
All right, then next is a sniper, a kinetic aggressive frame sniper, called Succession, and we're not talking about the HBO show. Again, you're going to see another combination here that we just mentioned. So for PvE, I'm looking at fluted barrel. I just like much handling as possible because for the majority of the time, you're always going to be in range with a sniper. And if you're not in range, it means you're just so far back on a map where I don't think the additional range perk, it's going to make a difference. So then I'm going to go extended mag, reconstruction, and then either Vorpal or recombination in that last column. So Vorpal gives you that 15%, and that recombination, of course, gives you that like additional 100% damage on that first shot. I like the consistency.
Vorpal, will it give 20 now?
That's on primaries.
Okay. So it's not weapon slot, it's ammo type.
Yes. Yep. So yeah, so that
It's
Vorpal
unfortunate.
is 15. The extended mag lets you get up to 5 if you put a backup mag on it, and then that gives you the reconstruction to get up to 10 on that sniper without having to do a reload. another sniper that I used for a long time after this raid came out. Hopefully you all got that roll too, or something close to it.
Yeah, I got the extended reconstruction recombination.
Mm-hmm.
I think that puts. I don't know. I have a backup mag on mine. My dim says there's 5 in the mag
Mm-hmm.
with the backup mag and the extended mag.
Yep.
So that would be 10 with the reconstruction. So that's a lot of shots, a whole lot of shots to fire off.
No.
Especially if you get that recom rolling on some. I always think of like the Leviathan, the boss fight of that, where you're fighting Callus,
Mm-hmm.
and you kill those dogs to like buff your damage before you would jump on the plate.
Yeah.
Like something like that would be. I wish we still had old Fat Boy around to shoot at to do some damage numbers myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had to spend a lot. I think over 300 spoils just to get these last 2 PvE rolls for them. Not for each, but like a combination where I just sat there running, like trying to get heritage over and over again, and then I finally got it, and then I switched to succession, and then I ran out of spoils. So I'm like, well, that's great. At least I got 2.
Yeah, this is
But
the
yeah,
first
that
time.
reconstruction's hilarious.
This is the first time they introduced that raid chest at the end to where you could use
that was
spoils of war.
excellent.
Man, that was wonderful. Too bad the dungeons don't get that too. All right, it's for a PvP role for succession. Fluted, tac mag, moving target, snapshot. I mean, it's going to feel good. You know, it's going to feel snappy with the snapshot. Of course, it's an aggressive frame, so it's going to be still sluggish, pulling it out, putting it back in. You know, if you're a warlock and you can use Ophidians, that would definitely help that out a lot. You know, lube it up and make it just like that transition just that much better. All right, so that's probably the 2 best weapons. That's what we started out with. So we'll get into the 2 primaries that came out of this, and the first one is Posterity, an arc 180 RPM hand cannon. This is a hand cannon that I didn't care about at all. I didn't like it. I just don't like the 180 RPM frame, but some people out there really enjoy it. So for PvE, just straight hammer forge, just straight 10 to range, tac mag, reconstruction, then rampage. For me, any disagreements there for you all? I don't think 180 is in a great place. If I ever want to use one, I want to either have explosive payload or time payload.
Yeah, the 180s aren't in a super good spot. So that's, I mean, reconstruction rampage, while you're using it a lot, so reconstruction can't proc too much. But if you do have the time to switch to something else, or if you're in a super, that's a big mag. So it'll get pretty big for a hand cannon. And yeah, like you said, it just, the 180s just don't feel great.
I think I held on to a rapid hit 1 for all, which it's fine, but I mean, I have so many better options that the odds of me using that are very slim. Because it's arc, right? You said.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime I would need an arc hand cannon, I'm going to the fake bringer. You
Yep.
know what I mean? Just bringing that baby out.
Yeah,
Right, Chad?
Chad, don't you love that weapon?
I do love it. I would love it even more if I had it.
All right, so PvP, you know, if you're using 180s, that means you love 180s, right? So this probably has something for you in PvP if that's what you just care about, is using 180s. So I came up with Hammerforge, Acarize, I mean, just max range, and then Killing Wind and Rampage. So I think like Killing Wind stacked with Rampage times 3, I think you can like 1 head 2 body or something like that, maybe, but still, it's like the chances you getting that is very slim. I mean, this is a weapon that you gotta get 3 head and 1 body to get a kill when you're in range. So, I mean, good luck to you if you're using 180s. My understanding is that they feel better on a controller, and then mouse and keyboard people prefer to use a 120 over a 180 with not using a 140. So I mean, 140s are like reign supreme right now. So
yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
All right, the next weapon here is Trustee, something that they kind of replaced in our heart the kinetic scout rifle, Randy's throwing knife. It got sunset, right? And then
R.I.P.
there was there's no other rapid fire frame scouts, and then all of a sudden, nope, there's only one, and it's locked behind a raid. So I remember that caused some uproar whenever the sunsetting stuff all happened and everything's like, only way I can get this weapon if I go raid and I'm a solo player. I can't get that weapon frame at all. So that did make this very popular at the time, but now it's probably fallen by the wayside and not many people are using it. So it's solar. And then so for PvE, I'm looking at arrowhead break, tac mag, reconstruction, and then redirection. Redirection is one we haven't talked about yet. So that's whenever you damage rank and file combatants. So that's mainly like your red bar enemies that are not vehicles. It buffs damage against the powerful ones. So that's your majors and bosses and ultras.
Is that perk specific to this weapon?
No, you can get it on posterity.
Okay.
It's basically the primary version of recombination. So recombination was only on the special weapons. This is only on the primary.
That makes sense. I never really thought about it that way. Do you guys like this gun at all?
I remember the only time I remember using the scout rifles was anti-barrier, and they're as at the time we was on Europa, so the shanks had solo shields. So you always had to take out solo shields. You needed anti-barrier.
Yeah, someone had to use it.
That's why.
Which this gun was basically replaced by Vision. 3 months later, 4 months later.
Yeah,
Vision of Confluence came back around.
It's a 180. This one has built-in full auto trigger, so
right.
You don't have to use that mod or want that as so.
And what's the other 180? The servant leader?
Yep.
Servant
That's
leader is
that's
rapid fire
kinetic,
frame.
right?
Rapid fire frame kinetic from Gambit.
Yeah. It's probably my favorite scout rifle in the game, I think.
You like that 2.2 zoom?
Dude, I love servant leader. Dude, there's a lot of times I don't even zoom. I don't even ADS with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, especially if I'm doing a sentry or invading in Gambit, because it still fires enough, and I don't have to zoom it. I ADS it to where I can still take out a lot of the red bars, and it's very effective whenever you invade. If you run out of heavy or something, you can still lay some pain down.
All right, so for PvE, as Fox mentioned, this is probably not the best in class rapid fire frame scout rifle. So, if you don't want to run a raid, you can just run Gambit, which is probably just as enjoyable as trying to put an LFG together for a raid. So PvP wise, it's really not the right home about, but arrowhead break, accurized, and then parent surplus and wellspring. Those two, surplus and wellspring, is kind of made for each other, just to help each other out. They hold each other's hand a little bit, just a neutral gameplay in PvP. But that's not really something that most people are running, or even in that slot, scout rifle wise. I think there's some other options. All right, time to move on to the heavies. So we got the Commemoration, a void adaptive frame machine gun. So we talked about another void adaptive frame machine gun recently, which is from Vault of Glass, called
Corrective Measure.
Yeah, Corrective Measure. So it's competing directly with that, right? So what does that have? That has, oh my gosh, why did I forget that? Whenever you shoot your entire mag out, it refills half of it. Rewind rounds.
Rewind, yeah.
Rewind rounds.
Yep. So instead of that, this has the other perk that we've talked about a lot of time. Reconstruction, so it can double your mag size. Firstly, in the last column, there's nothing like the paired straight DPS wise. The stuff you got to get kills with to then start buffing stuff. So that's Rampage in that last column. So for PvE, you're looking at arrowhead break, tac mag, and then the reconstruction Rampage. So this is a straight add clear roll for machine guns, which used to be everywhere, used a lot in in-game activities until a lot of the the seasonal mods that we've been getting the last 2 seasons with grenade launchers and now fusions. But it's a great weapon for that. Other than that, in the last column there's Dragonfly, which is
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yep.
I prefer it over Rampage on this gun. This is the gun that I had like 9 god rolls of. Like whatever god roll you wanted, I just kept getting this gun over and over and over and over, and all of them were good. So I kind of had to pare it down whenever we did our Vault Cleanse video.
Yeah. And then in PvP, I do like using the adaptive frame machine guns in PvP if I'm going to choose one. Like right now, I put throw a rocket on just to shoot a rocket and just forget about it. But this is also a great roll to take in there. So that's arrowhead break, extended mag. So the bigger your mag size with machine guns in PvP, the more ammo you get from an ammo break. So that's one of the weird things that go on with machine guns in PvP compared to the other weapons. And then dramatic spray reduction, and then moving target for me. I think those two pair really well together, just keeping that weapon very steady at long ranges, and then extra aim assist, and you're also moving a little bit faster while you're ADS.
Yeah, that role is basically just the xenophage of scouts, essentially. It just hits like a truck, but fires like a scout.
That really, whenever I use, I have that role. I have a Zen moment instead of DSR. But it reminded me most of Hammerhead. And I loved Hammerhead.
That's what I was going to say is this. I love this because of Hammerhead. Mm-hmm. I have a Reconstruction Rampage, and it feels just like my Rampage Hammerhead. It feels nice.
Are you still holding on to that in your vault, Chad?
No.
Okay. I know those Black Army weapons hold a special place in some people's vaults that they said you might as well just etch them in stone inside there.
That's Chad. Chad loved the Black Armory.
It was the best. The aesthetic of it all was the best.
It was a lot of those weapons were the greatest thing, but I remember that grind of that season was a little tad bit too much. Just some of that so much.
No,
go
man.
to Ada, come back. Go leave, do something
it
else.
Wasn't even. It was just unlocking the forges on every character was a nightmare.
Yeah. No, they learned from that they just need to make a lot of those things a one character and account based thing.
And then they would send you to kill like a high value target that appears on the map, and there's 8 people trying to kill the same high value target that spawns every 15 minutes, and if you don't get the final blow, you don't get credit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was not fun for me.
That was not fun at all. All right, last weapon here, the Bequest, an arc adaptive frame sword. Something unique about this sword compared to the other adaptive frame swords, the impact on this is 70 when the other ones are 60. So keep that in mind. A lot of the perks here is not as good as the other perks for the sword, but I guess the additional impact might make up for some of it. So PvE, you're looking at Jagged Edge, Swordmaster's Guard, Relentless, and Surrounded. That last column, Surrounded is something that made most sense to me. Besides Surrounded, I would go with Assassin's Blade, but the other two are On Guard and Flash Counter, which On Guard's okay when you just pull it out, but you only have like 2 swipes to get that damage buff, and then it's gone. But the only time I really remember using this was with Backrus. Whenever when you slow something and then you Backrus away, arc weapons do extra damage. So that's the only time I've ever really used this sword.
Yeah, you got real into that Backrus arc build there for a couple weeks. I remember.
Yeah. And then also you throw on Fourth Horseman too, which is it still does some pretty nutty DPS compared with one of the fragments. Whenever you throw your stasis melee, it reloads everything that's stowed. So you can just pull out Fourth Horseman 5 shots, stow it away, melee out, pull it back out. So you're pumping out all your ammo in a matter of like 4 seconds. So like your DPS is through the roof for those 4 seconds. So maybe you could do that and then pair it with something else in your heavy slot for a crazy DPS build. And for PvP, you're not using this in PvP. If you're using the sword, you're gonna use a caster frame or something with Eager's Edge. You're straight up not doing it. So
Yeah, Soulless Scar is a good one. I like it for PvP swords.
So that does it for the Deep Stone crit weapons. That raid was probably one of my favorite raids that's since the Activision split. So I think it's my favorite one, environment wise. Just going through it, not the encounters, not the mechanics. Being out in space, you know,
The skybox, everything.
Yeah, all
It's a good. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, that
real good.
The Chaos Room encounter.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Oh,
a
yeah.
fun encounter.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that encounter. The rest of that raid, I'm not. But we did it a lot, man. We ran that raid a bunch. So
Mhm.
because some people can't get their rocket launchers, but that
Oh.
exotic, man, the exotic out of that raid, Eyes of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is that there's a short list, but is that the most busted Gambit weapon? Because you got Sleeper, Queenbreaker, Truth, and Eyes of Tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess now Galahorn does amazing things too.
Does it like
The Wolfpack
okay?
rounds.
I haven't used it, so
Yeah, the wolf packs can hit hard, and it also, since it has grenades and horseshoes,
Mm-hmm.
even if it slides past a guardian, it's still gonna blow up and kill him.
But yeah, you're right there.
Right, so-
That's the 5. Yeah.
yeah. So out of those 5, was Eyes the most busted?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That's the only way you can get a what is it? A septikill
Yeah,
on the team, where you kill 3
Jared got
guys,
one, right?
and then you tag all 4 of them for a kill on the end. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's incredible.
I was playing with Fox.
I've done it once.
I was playing with Fox when it happened. You know, we both invaded. 2 people invaded at the same time, right? And I wiped all 3 of them. And then I think somebody got the kill, and I was like, "Well, might as well just wait for him to spawn back." And all 4 of them just running through the middle together. All 4 of them 7 kills and 7 kill for Gambit invade. I'm just like, wow, well, I finally got that triumph done. So
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it's incredible. You can't do that with any of the other guns.
The only other way I thought it was possible would be you invade with somebody else, you kill the 3, your teammates kill the invader quick, and then you Nova bomb all 4 of them coming out. That was like the only realistic scenario that was like this much of a chance of happening that I could think of doing.
mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
guess Blade Barrage would have been the hunter way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Back before
Those
they
are really the only 2.
back before they nerfed it into the ground because hunters can't
It
have it.
wasn't nerfed. It was broke. It was broken Gambit. Just your supers
Just
building, you're
constantly
picking up
casting it.
orbs. And
That was a prime issue.
Those great times. That was one of the few times hunters were great PvE.
Yeah.
remember Forsaken, like me, you, and Hastings, and just playing like 3 Chaos Reach Warlocks. Man, that was good times too.
Yep. All 3 was walking Queensbreaker. Yeah, we
It was
was
remember
those
that? I
people.
remember that one night. There was like a 2 or 3 night stretch where we went like 34-1, just playing Gambit.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
miss Hastings. Hastings, if you're listening, come back. We love you, buddy.
Oh man. All right. So that's it's a great weapon rolls there to go chase if you haven't got to, and luckily you can just do that boss and then buy him from the chest. All right, Chad. It's time to go back to the Bray Labs. Get your safety goggles on and your lab coats, and let's go to class.
Yep. Now we haven't talked a lot about Clovis Bray, but I wanted to give an intro to a story of his, just so you can get kind of an idea of him. Now You may have heard the name Bray because of Anna Bray if you played Destiny 2 previously or earlier, or the Bray name is all over the place on all over Mars and stuff like that. Now, Clovis is basically the figurehead of the family and the creator of the Exos and the person who created the whole Europa colony and the Morningstar ship that you do the Deepstone Crypt raid on. Um, Now, he was very eccentric in the beginning, and once he found clarity, which is the darkness statue that you run by on the way to go up to the ship, he went more or less very much so insane, which is fine. You know, it's all good stuff. He made the Exos because of it, so that's okay. But this is it. The book Bray Lab Records Confidential is actually a catalog of multiple experiments he runs. And so the first experiment is a security log E98, radiolarian fluid ingestion. Clovis Bray, Jay Wong, and a patient. So they're getting someone to drink radiolarian. And Clovis says, "How does it taste? Metallic, coarse, something else? Does it feel digestible? It feels nourishing. It's cool. It can feel like it's making its way through me. This is encouraging. No immediate effects. No, wait. What is it? Talk to us. It feels like it's attacking my stomach. Sir, his heart rate is spiking and his pressure is dropping. Damn it, he's losing fluids at an alarming rate. Exciting, isn't it? What's going to happen? He's going to die. That's what's going to happen. Fine, send in the medic units. Not sure if it's safe. We don't know if it's contagious. Could go airborne. How else are we going to find out? We send in the medic units. Security log E127, radiolarian fluid injection. Clovis, J. Wong, and patient 2. That's twice now. Direct consumption and direct injection yield similar results. Airborne's been disproven, but direct contact with the fluid still produces corruption. I wish you wouldn't call it that. It's not corruption, it's reprogramming. I'd like to bring Helga into these sessions. She has an engineer's mind. She'll find workarounds we need. Slimmer units, strong materials, alternate power sources. I would advise against that. The pursuit of science isn't always her top priority. When she sees what we're seeing, the precipice of a new age, she'll fall in line. I like working without jurisdiction. Wasn't that the point of us coming here? With her track record, it'll only be a matter of time before the Human Ethics Organization comes down on us. When did you ask your opinion for this? Send in the cleanup crew and prep the next patient. Sir, his arm, it's transforming. Would you look at that? It appears to be replacing cells on an individual level. Can it be contained? Is there a way to stop the spread? We can amputate, but at this rate, I doubt we'd be fast enough. Perhaps exposure to clarity will slow it down. We need to control this. Study the arm. If he's going to die anyway, maybe we just amputate and pair the arm with another patient. But we don't currently have another... Oh. Wouldn't you like to have a shiny new arm? Don't you want to be stronger and vulnerable? Don't act surprised. You know what we're working towards. Security log E205. Trans-temporal crossing trial 3. C. Bray, J. Wong, and participants 1 through 5. Send them through. Participants, step forward through the portal, maintain your grasp on the tether, count to 10 and step back out. Final bet, older or younger? Older, but if they come back younger, I'm going in next. I think we should get through more clinical trials before you subject yourself, sir. Here we go, they're going through. Countdown, 3, 2, 1. Pull the tether and bring them back. Where are they? The tether appears to be stuck. Pull harder. Tighten the winch. It looks like it may snap. Maybe they like what they've found, or something is holding them there. It's giving. Here they come. Whip noise and a splashing sound occurs. Oh, disgusting. You smell that? It's permeating through the glass. What are we looking at? Looks to be complete cellular deterioration. They're just mushy goop, for lack of a better term. Guess I won't be going in yet after all. Seems there are still some things man has not meant to conquer. If you believe that, you're in the wrong place, Justin. Just needs a little fine tuning. Security log E222. Exo arm attachment trial 4. Helga Rasmussen, Clovis Bray, and patient 32. How about the index finger? No. Extremities remain unresponsive. Are there any sensations at all? Phantom ones. I have an itch I'd like to scratch. My chest feels heavy, like someone's sitting on me. While nerve endings are attached to the mechanism successfully, we're not generating any action potentials. This isn't working, Helga. Still, progress. You'll have to settle for that. I typically don't settle for breathe. He's experiencing a massive myocardial infarction. Send in the medic units. I fear my earlier hypothesis was correct and the human body in its current evolution cannot sustain the physical exertion the machine parts demand. Then we should evolve. Oh, okay. Let me jump ahead 100 million years real quick. We've had some interesting advancements in post transcriptional modification, gene splicing with primates, fish, and some birds. What if we built stronger humans? Could they withstand this process? I'm an engineer, not a geneticist. I don't know if your ape man can wield a metal arm. That's such a reductive and tasteless comprehension of what I'm proposing. He's flatlined. We've lost him. Well, you know what they say if at first you don't succeed. Security log A 123 Nuclear Power Exo Trial 1 Clovis Bray and D. Chambers. Morningstar. Incoming call from Morningstar, Clovis Bray. Sir, we've prepped and standing by for your order. Are the reactors stable? Stable and ready for installation in the exobody. If this works, generations will praise in the work accomplished today. Sir, if you don't mind me saying, the team would have liked you to be here personally. Would have been a vote of confidence for them. May I remind you it was your insistence we find an alternate power source to Clarity, even though it's already proven to be a success. Besides, if that reactor explodes with me present, it would be a single greatest loss our civilization could suffer and would damn us all for eons to come. Now get on with it. Yes, sir. Install the core. Are you able to see well enough? I'm watching with bated breath. Calculated distance of 3 millimeters, 2 millimeters, 1. We're in. Lock the chassis. Switch on the alternator and reroute power supply. Nothing is happening. Would appear not. If nuclear power isn't a sufficient power source, perhaps there are other uses. It's not compatible at the very least. It's interesting to note that the chassis may be able to house other forms of power with similar destructive potential. We may have a walking bomb on our hands. Security log A280. Food supplement. Trial 15. Okay, Agatha, what do you have for me? We took your proposal and ran with it. We've distilled and condensed enough nutrients and proteins down to a single pill that should eliminate the need for sustenance within your average patient for 10 years. That's a start, but I'd like to get that number higher. I'm tired of stopping to eat. Imagine what I can do, productivity, not to mention military efforts. Next on the chopping block is sleep. We administered the pill 24 hours ago to 5 patients. Let's see how they're acclimated. Patient 27, how's your appetite? I don't have one. I miss food, but I think it's habitual. Patient 28, my stomach feels full. Too full, actually. Anyone else experiencing this? Murmurs of confirmation. That's to be expected, I suppose. Must be a bizarre sensation. Ma'am, I'm actually feeling pretty sick. Is there a bathroom I could use? After we conclude this check-in, I don't think I can wait. What's happening? Their stomachs are expanding. Fix it. I can't. Groans, retching, screaming, burst sounds, fluid spilling. Agatha, clearly we have not found our solution. I'll leave this mess in your incapable hands. Don't ever bring me up to witness an event like this again. Disgusting. Security log A322. Clarity Control Exposure Trial 3. Sir, we have reports coming in from Clarity Control. About time? Well, they're dead, sir. How many? All of them. And they all came in physical contact with it? No, sir. Some merely within proximity. I have a recording if you'd like to see it. Right away. Recording plays. Did it... You all hear that? Hear what? It's speaking. Mom, is that you? No, don't go near. Unintelligible screams, choking, fluid spilling. Recording ends. Fascinating. It appears to be communicating with them. I wonder what it said. With your permission, we'd like to quarantine the area and restrict all access. I'd like to try a different approach. Send in some fresh faces. Tell them nothing except to keep their distance. I'd like to know what it's saying. Security log E411. Bonus appendages. Trial 8. We're confident we've isolated and solved the issue. I know success is possible. It's been shown to me. Yes, you mentioned the vision previously, sir. We believe that the transition was too jarring. This time we fabricated some memories within the patient. This should lead them to believe that the extra arms are in fact part of who they are. Good. I don't want to watch another catastrophically expensive exo tear itself to pieces again. Let's bring the patient online, please. We've already completed the initial awakening seminar so as not to waste your time. Did they see the tower? They did, sir. How are you feeling? Not great. Where am I? Please stand and explore the full range of your mobility. Well, what do you want me to do? Raise your arms. All four seem functional. Don't celebrate yet. They seem to be moving in tandem. Can they move each one independently? Please move each arm individually. I can't. I can't. What's not mine? What's get them off? Screaming. It would appear they're on the verge of a psychotic break. Metal tearing, more screaming. Dr. Chambers, next time you run this test, I want you in the room with the patient. Do you understand? Yes, sir. Security log E419, ice wielding. C. Bray and J. Wong. Are we ready to introduce our exo marionette to the future? Energy transfer initiated. I love that sound, the sound of progress. We're at 15%. Look at his hand, magnificent. The ice is concentrated at the palm, now to 20%. Imagine the look on Abram's face if he walked in now. That man has no vision. I don't trust people like that. Agreed. Threshold at 25 now would be optimal. Let's see what he can do. Try to focus the energy into a controlled burst. There's a loud hum, a blast, and then an impact. It went right through the wall. I'll pop the champagne. We're at 30%. Should we stop? No, keep going. We can have him chill the champagne for us. Passing 35%, the ice appears to be spreading up his arm. I think we should pull back. Keep going. Another round of blasts for us. Loud hum. Hum intensifies. Blast, damn it, blast now. Hum intensifies. Sir, the ice is permeating throughout his body. Hum intensifies. He's turning into an icicle blast. He's unresponsive. Is he still alive? He's frozen solid. It's possible he'll still be operational. Incredible. We forge ahead under strict lock and key. I want this under my control no matter the cost. Now, that's the end of all those logs. There's obviously more logs in the Exo Mines, but I kind of want to go through his journal that was in the what's the Legendary Collection, the actual physical one, where they had the actual journals and then the hidden like journal that translated the redacted parts.
The penguins.
But I'm gonna have to definitely pare that down a lot because there's like I want to say almost 60 pages of that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's gonna be that's gonna be not direct readings for that for sure. But it's that journal is incredible. There's so much good stuff in there that just really goes to show how crazy he is.
Yeah, I really hope we go back to the Deep Stone Crypt for something else in the future. I've said that many times before, but there's got to be more to what's going on with Clovis and how we did some more stuff discovering him.
I have a feeling it's going to be Rasputin related as to why we go back.
Well, I mean, remember Anna is also one of his daughters, so.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder. So we know we go to Mars in the Witch Queen.
Yeah.
And we know that this is a big threat, and we know Rasputin's on Mars. Do you think maybe that's how we get Rasputin back into the story? We like put Rasputin into like a exo body or something?
It's definitely possible. I think that that an exo body is definitely probable. But remember, the exos were made for, I want to say, for human minds, and Rasputin's not. He is just a sentient AI. Now I don't see why that would give him a problem. Since he wasn't human, he won't have the issues that humans had becoming exos, which we'll get into a little later on, while we're going through more Clovis stuff. But essentially, their minds couldn't differentiate that they weren't in a human body, and so looking at the exo metallic body, they would have a psychotic break and break down, and then just basically turn off. And I don't think Rasputin would have that issue because he's a robot already. He knows that he's an AI, so I think he'd be able to take advantage of that, kind of like Fellwinter a little bit, because Fellwinter also is Rasputin's little baby boy, and didn't have any issues being an exo as well. Which brings up the point: where did he get the tech to make Fellwinter then? Because we found the birthing box that he made Fellwinter in on the moon, but
well, that's where they did a lot of tests at, was at the anomaly.
yeah, because that's where yeah, you're right.
Another thing about Rasputin
Just
is like the
curious.
last time we was interacting with him was like whenever the darkness was coming in, right? And the darkness kind of been like in the background now for the past year, and we're focusing on Sabbathune. So now Sabbathune's probably come back in Witch Queen, and we're gonna go back to the seasonal content, focusing on the darkness. So Rasputin probably get back involved again to track the darkness.
I know
Yeah.
that for whatever reason, Rasputin was in like early D1 story. Like, if I recall, maybe Rasputin was supposed to be taken into like the Black Garden or whatever. And that was supposed to be like how you destroy it. I want to say maybe I could definitely be wrong about that. But I mean, I know that Bungie loves Rasputin.
Yeah. And speaking of stuff that Bungie loves is their history, and Fox, I think you got a banger for us today.
Oh man, I have been worried about this for probably 2 weeks, trying to figure out how I'm gonna pare this down. So I'll just do the best I can. So previously on the history of Bungie, Halo 1 has released. It was huge, and Master Chief is now the mascot of Microsoft's Xbox console. So Halo 1 releases, redefines the console shooter. Exactly 1 year later from the launch of the Xbox console, Microsoft launches Xbox Live on November 15th, 2002. This is revolutionary at the time. Microsoft was smart enough to kind of future-proof their console by including a hard drive and an Ethernet port in the system. The downside of that is it increased the upfront cost of the system, so it was more expensive than Sony's PlayStation 2 at the time, but it was just a stronger and more powerful system. So with Sony, you had to buy what's called the network adapter, which I bought. I want to say it was $40. I spent a solid 8 minutes Googling trying to find what the launch price of it was, but I couldn't find it. But in my head, it was $40. And then they also later came out with a hard drive, and it came with like Final Fantasy 11. And I want to say that it cost $100 because I love those Final Fantasy games, but I just couldn't get into the thoughts of playing an online Final Fantasy. SOCOM was also the other big game. SOCOM U.S. Navy SEALs was the other big game for Sony whenever this was going on. So Microsoft, all this is built in. It only takes an Ethernet port, whereas the network adapter could take a phone line if you had dial-up connection. So you had to buy, like at the time, like an Xbox Live starter kit that came with like the headset, and it came with I want to say like a 1 year subscription, and maybe you got a game like Crimson Skies, I want to say maybe came with it initially. I didn't have it for a few years because I did not have broadband, but one of my best friends did have it, broadband at his home. And so I spent many Friday nights after school riding the bus to his house and playing Mech Assault and Rainbow Six 3. Those are the games I remember really playing up until Halo 2 came out, because Halo 1 was not compatible with Xbox Live. So the plan initially was that Halo 2 was going to launch 1 year after Halo Combat Evolved, but quickly they realized that that was not a shot that was going to happen. So they set the site for 2 years out, which was fall of 2003. Now this kind of sounds Activision-y to me, trying to get these yearly releases out. So Bungie, the eyes were bigger than the stomach, I guess would be the best way to describe it. They make a new game engine. This engine allowed graphics to look like no other game had looked before. I kind of dug into this a little bit, and the engine basically was able to do lighting effects, almost kind of sounded like ray tracing, to be honest. And it let things look incredible, but the issue was that Later, we'll talk about the console wasn't powerful enough to do what they were trying to do. So, coming off the success of the Halo Combat Evolved multiplayer, which remember was saved by 2 people that were on the Bungie West team, the plan was to create a new multiplayer mode, which was PvPvE, and it was described in the documentaries that I watched as remember the Halo 5, like what was it called, Warzone, the mode they had to where it was like a big team battle with like bosses and stuff that would spawn in. So that was kind of what they were going for. A fellow by the name of Max Hoberman. This guy, he deserves a follow on Twitter. He is an incredible Twitter follow. He will post like early concept map designs and will just post it and be like, "Hey, can you guys guess what map this was? This was like the second rework of it." So really cool guy, from what you can tell on Twitter. And he was came from the Oni team and was a community manager for Halo Combat Evolved. He speaks up and he's like, "Hey, why are we just abandoning the multiplayer that we had before? Why can't we keep that as well?" So they're like, "Well, you can work on your party mode of multiplayer." So kind of like a little bit like a backhanded compliment, you know? So you have the campaign team, the Warzone multiplayer team, and then you have like the party multiplayer team, the party mode. So at this time, Alex Seropian, who was the founder of Bungie, he's starting to see the writing on the wall that Bungie is now a Halo studio and decides to leave the company. So now Jason Jones is the lead creative as well as the person that is to deal with all the like office tasks, the politics, managing personalities, putting people in positions to succeed. He can't just hold himself up in the office anymore and just focus on whatever part of the game that he's working on. So this leads to people that have no experience of leading teams that are made the leads of teams. Jason Jones begins shifting his focus towards another project that is going on at Bungie. I'll talk more about this project in like the last episode. Like it's going to be like a miscellaneous episode. And remember, Jones doesn't like working on sequels. So now they're a year out from release. I believe it was February of 2003. Bungie's like, "Oh my God, there's no way this game's going to be ready by the fall." They have to work on this E3 demo. The whole thing's a mess. In order to get the demo to run, everything is heavily scripted. There's like literally paths that the person playing the demo takes. Even to the point of like whenever they hijack the ghost in the E3 demo, all that's scripted. There's somebody else while the person's playing the demo that is going through and deleting like objects that the player has passed in order to keep the memory level to where it can even run. So this thing is an absolute mess. But everybody sees it and they're like, "Oh my God, I can't wait until the fall to play this. We need it now." But some of the media people are like, "Is this real?" You know, so they get disqualified for any awards because nobody believes it's real. So they do a behind closed doors demo and they let a few media people in and they're like, "All right, what do you want us to do?" Like kind of direct the person that's playing. They go through and do this, and it just so happened that it worked while they were doing this. So they were like eligible for like game of the show and these type of things. So I remember my uncle, who is 10 years older than me. I would always take my Xbox to his house. He would always like be like, "Hey, come over, bring your Xbox. I'm going to pick you up here," because he lived pretty close by. And he eventually got his own Xbox. He got the really cool green Halo edition Xbox. I'm not sure if you guys recall that one, but that game actually came, or that console came with like the Halo Combat Evolved disc, and on that disc was the demo of that E3 demo, like a video of it. The disc I had like a Fusion Frenzy demo or something on it. His had this sweet Halo 2. And I remember watching that thing at his house. Like he and I would watch it like 50 times. And, you know, that's where you first get to see the dual wielding of the weapons and all this kind of stuff. So back on task here. Bungie knows they're in trouble. There's no way this game is going to launch, in later in the fall of that year. If they did, it would be like Anthem levels of bad, if not worse. So they contact Ed Freeze, who is pretty high up in the Xbox division. I think I mentioned him maybe last week or the week before. And they're like, hey, we need a year. Like, we're not getting this thing out this year. We need to make it to fall of 2004. And, you know, if you can give us that, we can make it work. So Ed Freeze goes to the board. And, you know, the board, they care more about money than a video game. So they're like, all right, we'll leave it up to a vote. And there were 9 people voting, and they voted 5-4 to allow a 1-year extension. Freeze said that this pissed him off so bad that I think he left the company within like 5 months of this happening because of he said this was like a key contributor that, you know, they weren't focused on making the best product they can make, but rather more about just all about the dollar bills. So as a result of this, excuse me, Jason Jones has to go back full time to Halo, leave the other project behind. Joe Staten, which is a name you might recognize from like Halo Infinite and stuff. He went back and by all accounts basically saved Halo Infinite because it was in development hell as well. And they basically no life Halo 2 for the next 18 months, more or less. Live in the studio. At this point, the campaign is not going to be finished. They cut the entire third act of the campaign. The Warzone multiplayer mode had made zero progress whatsoever. Like nothing was good with it. So they scrap it. Luckily, our boy Max Hoberman is killing it with the party mode. So he states that he, quote, wanted to maintain the couch co-op feel as I was never as good as everybody else and wanted to be the voice for less skilled players like Chad Ocero. So Bungie's working hand in hand with Microsoft at this time as well with like Xbox Live features. Remember, they're on the Microsoft campus. This is when they're making like the in-games friends list, chat, as well as the party up feature to where after the game, you could choose to like party up with the people you were just match made with.
Could you imagine actually having that in Destiny? That would be wonderful, don't you think?
Yeah.
And it's been around since
nice?
2003.
Yep. Now, Halo 2 actually stayed as the #1 game on Xbox Live until the year 2006. Can either of you guess what game finally knocked it out of the #1 spot?
Gears of War.
That's exactly right.
Gears of War.
I was actually, good job, Chad. I was actually one of the people that I'd never quit playing Halo 2 until Gears of War came out. And then I started playing it. So at this point, the single player of Halo is a mess. They have to cut everything. Remember, they have this engine that can't run on the console. And remember, Halo 2 added the Banshee to where, so you had not only, you had increase in verticality and skyboxes and sky battles, and they were just too ambitious. They literally locked themselves into a room, they being like Staten, Marty O'Donnell, and Jason Jones, and they draw the entire game's levels out on dry erase whiteboards. They said that if somebody would have came and erased those in like a certain week period, they would have lost every single thing of the game. And I read that these whiteboards are actually in one of the developers' garage. Like he saved them and still has them there. So eventually they get all this backed up onto hard drives. they scrapped the final act of the game. The third act was going to be a giant battle on Earth, and like basically it was going to end the series. Was how they had written it. So that was kind of funny. So this is from the Wikipedia right here. I'm just going to read this straight. The story for Halo 2 grew out of all the elements that were not seen in Combat Evolved. Jason Jones organized his core ideas for the sequel story and approached Joseph Staten for input. According to Staten, among the elements that did not make it to the finished game was, quote, a horrible scene of betrayal where Miranda Keyes straps a bomb to the Master Chief's back and throws him into a hole in revenge for her father's death. Jason was going through a rather difficult breakup at the time, and I think that had something to do with it. They also were going to see the war from the Covenant perspective, forming the idea to have part of the game told from the perspective of a Covenant warrior known as the Dervish. So, late in development, the Dervish became the Arbiter after legal teams at Microsoft were afraid the game was sending a message about Islam. So what this is about, and I am, is from what I've researched, which, you know, take with a grain of salt. A dervish is a person that was like stripped of that in the Islam faith that is stripped from like all worldly possessions. And they were afraid. This was right after, like, remember we had just entered into war with not only Afghanistan, but Iraq, and the Battle of Fallujah had just happened. So they were like, Microsoft's legal team was kind of like, I'm not sure we should have something like Islam related into the game. So they renamed it to Arbiter. Now, with this, they had to re-record all the audio, and allegedly there are, if you know to listen for the word dervish, you can hear it multiple times throughout the game. I just learned about this a couple weeks ago, so I had never heard it, but I was also never listening for it. So the end result of this cut game is that the last mission, you're not even playing as Master Chief, you play as Arbiter, and then they slap a cutscene on at the end of Master Chief, basically with the bomb, and he's gonna finish this fight. So it bothered everybody else a lot more than it bothered me. Like I didn't bother me that the game ended. I just thought, well, it's a cliffhanger. We know the third one's coming. You know, what somebody that watches a lot of movies, there's a lot of cliffhangers like that. So after the game's out and everything's over, all of these people are like, people have lost their marriages. One guy said that for the final 2 months, he had to kennel his dog because he didn't know if he would make it home to feed it or like take it outside or anything. So like everybody hates everybody. Jason Jones actually leaves the company. He's so burnt out. He just absolutely leaves. So we'll pick up there next time, but I want to talk about the hype of this game. So this is the most hyped video game that I can ever remember. And I don't know if I'm sure it hit me at the perfect age as well as part of it. But I mean, everybody knew about Halo, you know, and when Halo 2 was coming out, you know, there wasn't a midnight release here in Eastern Kentucky to go get it at midnight. So 10 of us piled into 2 cars, left school the next day on release date, and went to Electronics Boutique in the mall on November 9th, 2004, right as they opened. We got our copies, picked up a Sbarro's Pizza or 5, and went and played System Link from Tuesday afternoon until Wednesday evening. God bless my mother for allowing me to miss school for 2 days. And sorry, coach, for missing practice, but it's practice, not a game, but practice. Halo 2 was the first video game to ever have a preview in movie theaters, and there was a very popular ARG called I Love Bees that I will touch on in that miscellaneous episode at the end of the series. So, what are your guys' memories of Halo 2?
The online play is what I remember the most, because that's the first game I played on Xbox Live. And like I remember like being over at Cousin Cody's, and like he'd be in chat with you, Fox, and like y'all playing, and like I gotta get this at my house. and like eventually we got broadband out there and out in the boonies, and it was so much fun, And then also remember the super bounces, and like that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
That was gonna be my thing. The super jumps, baby. Yeah, that, and then definitely the online part was wild. Yeah, and then getting just beat left and right over and over again, but being persistent.
What
Um,
what was the highest level you ever saw in Halo 2 somebody was?
Right.
Oh, it was like, so I remember like whatever the friends list or whatever that has happened. Like I got into like with you and Wolfie
Yeah.
and like another, and it was you all. Like you all was like, I was like,
Right. So I was a level 50 in Halo 3. In Halo 2, the highest I ever got was 31. And I played for years, every day. That game, there was like the last, from like ranks 40 to 50, you didn't have a number, you had like an emblem. So you might be like a half moon. Level 50 was like the Halo ring. That was your emblem. And if you saw anybody above 25, they were good. They were good or they cheated. That was the only thing. Um, so yeah, man, I loved Halo 2. Did you guys get it like on release date, or did you get it for Christmas, or do you remember?
it's really hard for me to remember. At that age, like, what was it? It came out in 03, so I was 11.
Oh,
And
it came out in 04.
yeah,
It got
04,
pushed a year
yeah,
back.
because I was 12, and the fact that it had an M rating, my mom was kind of into that. I was like, oh, that's rated M. I don't know, but I mean, I had it growing up, and I had the other one, the Halo original. She was cautious at that time. I mean, 12-year-old kid, I was still playing lots of baseball and stuff like that. So
Oh, yeah, for sure.
My dad was the shooter guy, so he's the one that owned it. So I was allowed to play it every once in a while. When he's like, you know what, I'm switching PC, I'd be like, all right, because it was in his room. He had the TV with the Xbox was in his room. So if he wasn't playing it, if he switched to the PC, then I was allowed to play it. But again, he was there watching because he was right there. So I don't know when he bought it. I don't remember the date that he bought it. All I remember is he didn't let me play it for a while because he was going through the story. He was playing through the stuff. It's once he got bored of it is when he allowed me to play it.
Yeah.
So that's whenever that happened was when I played through the story and then played a little bit of online here and there with him being there and learning how to say my first curse words because I got shot and it was bull because that guy shouldn't have done that.
I remember my
I
brother
think
As a
the first-
kid, I remember looking at it and being like, now it makes sense what I hear coming out of this room at night. Because he's been playing PC games since as long as I can remember. So I'll hear all kinds of obscenities. And like as a small child, I don't understand it, but like started doing that
My
and I was
kids do.
yeah, I get it. I get it 100%.
Yeah. I remember my little brother wanted to play split screen online multiplayer. I'm trying to explain to him, it's like, we can't because the voices come through the TV and then mom and dad will hear it and we won't get to play it. But you know what?
Yeah.
He wouldn't listen. He wouldn't. And then we just had, we had to put it up for a while. Wasn't allowed to play. Wasn't allowed to play online. He was like, you talking to strangers over the internet? You can't be doing that. But now we do it every day of the week. But yeah.
Right. I think the first time my mom ever heard me say SMD was on Halo 2 multiplayer. So yeah, that was great.
Yep. All right, let's get into this mailbag, huh? First question here. Did you all try to save any of the new lights in Days of Eternity? So basically what happens is when a new light comes in, they do the new light experience in the Cosmodrome, and then it kicks them straight into the Days of Eternity, and Days of Eternity is 1150, which you're probably going to be about 50 powers under if you're a new light.
With champs.
And the champions. So did you all go and do any of this? Nope. All right, then.
Nope.
I
thought about it, but I've been doing other stuff.
Yeah.
And it only really became popular.
Yeah.
All those keyboard warriors I see on Facebook, that complain about other people not doing it. They do it enough for the rest of us. So
Mm-hmm.
You could have just said no, Ryan. You could have just said no. I haven't had the time.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
That's fine. That's
It's Bungie's problem. They
Yeah.
screwed up the new line
yeah. No,
experience.
100%. They messed up with the pooch on that one.
Yeah.
Bad.
Like I went and logged onto my wife's account back like probably like 2 months ago, and it kicked me into the Season of the Lost
Yeah.
story. I'm like, why does it do this? I'm not. She's not leveled up yet. She still got weapons. Like she can't even do this mission. Right? I was like, why?
Yep.
It's Bungie has screwed this up for returning players and new lights, and they need to get
Yeah,
to
it
work.
just needs to be a little banner that says, "Hey, go here," and then you go, "Cool," and you do it or you don't, because you got other stuff to do. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't get why it does the automatic thing. Like, if it's just a cutscene, fine. I'll watch a cutscene before I start to. That hasn't played for 3 seasons and they come in, they're so below level. They're either gonna go immediately to orbit or they're just not gonna have fun for like 30 minutes. They're just gonna be angry.
They don't even know how to go to orbit.
Well, when it's a returning player, they do, but when it's a new
That's
light,
true. That's
they
true.
don't.
Yeah.
They don't. The people that are stuck in Dare's hell have no clue that they can just go away.
Yeah, they got some stuff. They got stuff to work on. Like I don't know. Like
Yeah.
man, Bungie they made Halo, and Halo was just like easy to get into. Like, hey, there's the campaign. They're 4 easy difficulties to get through. You learn the weapons, and you go play PvP. And yeah. All right, question 2. Pick a weapon type to get a buff going into Witch Queen. Okay.
Sniper rifles.
Yeah, that makes a lot of
It's
sense.
Heavy
it's a skill,
fusions.
it's just a skilled weapon. It's a skilled precision weapon. It rewards you with. I think it needs a damage buff, and if you're able to land those precision shots, that should be the highest DPS in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll actually go with heavy grenade launchers. They was
Ooh,
at the
yeah.
time when snipers were really good. They were paired with heavy grenade launchers. So you're looking at Izanagi paired with like an auto-loading grenade launcher. Like Fox, man, if they just listen to our 2 things, we'll go back to a great DPS
right.
meta. And that's probably one of the
Yeah,
best
we will.
metas there ever was.
And mine is because they chose the other 2. I'll pick heavy fusions because the middle fusions have taken over,
Okay, so
and
you're
the
talking
heavy
about
fusions are not in a happy place.
like Glacial Chasm and all
Yeah,
those.
like
Okay.
the extreme high impact ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want them buffed in PvE or across the board in PvP too?
Yeah, across the board.
Okay.
Across the board for sure. I mean, it's the charge time hit is real rough. I mean, like I've gotten used to it, but it's still not great. A second is a long time in PvP. It's a long time. So if you're not pre-charging, you're dead.
Yeah.
And in PvE, it's a long time where you're just not shooting stuff.
Yep.
You're just sitting there doing this,
Bzz,
and
bzz,
and you're waiting, and it's
bzz.
Just
exactly.
putting the finger down. Yeah. Not.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't do this anymore. You do this. All right. Question
It's
3.
the opposite of your problem with sidearms.
Yeah. If you had to guess what day the Witch Queen rate's going to drop in order to request time off work, what date would you choose? So hopefully Bungie comes out and says this very quickly just to let people know. But I think history has proven that they do it the second week Saturday of the expansion.
March the 5th.
Yep.
Is that Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, they did it first with Deepstone, and it proved to be the most completed day 1 raid and most played day 1 raid because it was on a Saturday. Well, it was on 2 weeks, so it gave all the regular players time, and I think that's a great idea. I think that that is a trend that they want to keep because obviously it's had the most amount of engagement. So I don't see why they wouldn't do it again.
I think that it's a must. If they don't do that, I imagine the community would be very upset with them
Yeah.
if they don't do that. All right, question 4. If you had the necessary skills required, what job would you want at Bungie?
I would want to be on the raid team or the dungeon team and like design those encounters and things.
Lore.
Yeah.
I'd want to be on the lore team.
Yep.
I'd want to write some stuff. I'd want to make a character. I'd make our Conquerors a fire team in the canon.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
Well, I would actually probably want to land into the weapons sandbox team because that's a part what I care most about is how weapons perform and what things should be buffed and nerfed and stuff like that. So
I like how anyone that's listened to us frequently enough could have guessed all three of those right off the
Oh
rip.
yeah,
for sure.
All right, what is this question 5 you got here, Fox? From Cousin Cody.
This
Ooh.
question came from Cousin Cody, and it says, "You boys getting that Taco Bell season pass?" So, I don't know if you guys happened to see this today. However, the Taco Bell had a thing to where it was, I think it was like, what was it, $12.99 a month, and or maybe even $9.99 a month, and you can get one taco every day for like a 30-day period. So yeah, I'll definitely. There's some days I pass 3 different Taco Bells, so I will most definitely be getting that season pass for the Taco Bell.
I think as long as the cosmetics are worth it, probably.
Yeah.
Get a special hot sauce pack. That's
I wonder
unique
what
to
the
you.
I wonder what the free track looks like on that
Yeah.
season pass.
Definitely.
Looks like Pepto Bismol is what it looks like.
All right, you guys have anything else?
No, just I think Pepto is on the paid track.
It's 47 days until February 22nd. They can't get here fast enough.
We got what is it? We got 6 more Conqueror's Corners.
Yep. All right, so make sure you guys follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. If you listen to us, make sure you watch us on YouTube. If you watch us on YouTube, make sure you listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, other podcast services. And I'll let these other guys sign off.
The holidays are over, but we're gonna bear up for winter. And on my neck of the woods here, got lots of snow, and Fox has got even more. So, be safe out there because we all want to be around to play games and be around for our family. Should just take it a day at a time.
Yeah, it's a perfect time to stay in and read some lore. But if you guys have any lore questions, just throw them out here. If you guys have any other ideas, because we got plenty of time. Anything that you'd like to hear about, just holla at us, man.
Go Cats. Love you guys.